Hey, my name is Leanne, and I'm fascinated with helping women navigate how to eat, move, and care for their bodies. This has taken me on a journey from vegan, keto, high protein to everything in between. I'm a small town holistic nutritionist turned 3-time international bestselling author turned functional medicine practitioner, offering telemedicine services around the globe to women looking to better their health and stop second-guessing themselves. I'm here to teach you how to wade through the wellness noise to get to the good stuff that'll help you achieve your goals. Whether you're seeking relief from chronic ailments, striving for peak performance, or simply eager to live a more vibrant life, this podcast is your go-to resource for actionable advice and inspiration. Together, we'll uncover the interconnectedness of nutrition, movement, sleep, stress management, and mindset, empowering you to make informed choices that support your unique health journey. Think of it as quality time with your bestie mixed with a little med school so you're empowered at your next doctor visit. Get ready to be challenged and encouraged while you learn about your body and how to care for it healthfully. Join me as we embrace vitality, reclaim our innate potential, and discover what it truly means to pursue healthfulness. Hello and welcome to another episode. Today we're going to be talking about redox, and this might be a totally new situation for you. When I studied drainage pathways, parasites, mold, metal, toxicity, detox in general, my mentors never mentioned redox. This was something that I came across probably about a year ago after working with clients that weren't responding well to drainage opening, meaning we were addressing their liver and kidneys and lymph and all that stuff. They weren't responding well. When we added binders, they weren't responding well. When I assessed for mast cell activation, they weren't responding well. And I was like, what is going on? And then I started thinking about, okay, well, in these individuals, we know that electrolytes generally do well. Okay, so what's happening there? It's sodium, potassium, usually magnesium is needed. Okay, what's happening there? So I started thinking about why these minerals are needed. And then that brought me to cell signaling and oxidation reduction and mitochondrial activity. And then that brought me to redox. So this is basically an understanding of cellular health, mitochondrial function, energy metabolism, oxidative stress. So redox signaling is a practical, approachable way to affect our energy, aging, and healing, especially when we are looking to open up our drainage pathways and detox stuff. So if you have been told that you have parasites, bacteria, viruses, metals, metal toxicity, mold toxicity, bacterial imbalances like Lyme, all of this, okay, generally will cause a nervous system reactivity and imbalance. And the longer we've been in that nervous system imbalance, the deeper redox we need. The way that I think about redox is using minerals and reduction of oxidation to allow our bodies to properly detoxify. And what I've seen by properly redoxing individuals is that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the body has enough of the support that it needs that it actually doesn't need to detox. Like by supporting redox, it does enough that we don't need to go further. So this process is foundational before even drainage pathway work. And unfortunately, I'm always learning. I'm always learning. As a practitioner, there's never a dull moment. And I just stumbled upon this after the protocols, not necessarily that my mentors provide protocols, but like the templates and the outline of a clear order of operations, I was always taught starts at opening up drainage. But I am suggesting in this episode that before drainage opening, we need to redox. So we're going to be talking about the signs that we need to redox, including fatigue, poor healing, inflammation, premature aging, how oxidative stress or poor redox blocks our results, even if we have perfect macros, and then real life ways to support redox through sleep, mineralization, hydration, light exposure, targeted supplements. I don't want you to listen to this intro and be like, girl, just one more other thing that I have to think about and like process through. I don't want you to think of that. This actually simplifies a very easy concept to facilitate before you get into deeper detox work. Okay, so what's redox? Okay, let's start with the most embarrassing question. You're like, hold on, Leanne, what's a redox? First off, there's not an embarrassing question that you could ask me. Okay, so get that out of your head. It sounds super technical, redox, and maybe like a little bit intimidating because it has dox in it. That sounds like detox. Absolutely not. But I promise this is a really practical thing that you can totally understand about your body very simply. So redox is short for reduction oxidation reactions. So it's a fancy term that simply describes how your cells transfer electrons to create energy, communicate, and respond to stress. So every moment of every day that you exist, your cells are either donating or accepting electrons back and forth. And this dance basically fuels everything from your heartbeat to your hormone production to your hair growth. Everything in the body requires this. So while the word redox might sound like something from, I don't know, biology or chemistry class, it's actually foundational to the cellular level. We've been talking a lot about cells. Maybe I've become obsessed, but here we are. So here's where things get really cool. So redox isn't just about making energy. It's also about the communication. So every single cell in your body is constantly talking and signaling when it needs help. I just love thinking about all the cells being like beep, 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 you know? When there's damage to repair, when there's inflammation that needs to calm down, or when there's an immune response that needs to happen. In fact, there's this thing called cellular danger response, CDR, where the cells repeat a message that actually has been corrected. And so a lot of my work too is determining what individuals are stuck in the CDR. It's sort of like the circle of death on your computer where like you're just stuck and you really need a reboot. And that reboot is generally a redox plan plus a nervous system jolt. For some people, depending on their constitution, it's cold therapy. For others, it's acupuncture or getting into like TENS and those sorts of things. So this is kind of where the mitochondria come in, these little power plants inside of almost all of the cells in your body. So their job is to produce ATP, which is your body's energy currency. Okay. So like think of it like cash money in your body. But ATP isn't all that the mitochondria produce. They also create redox signaling molecules as part of the energy making process. So if ATP is the cash money, then redox is maybe, I don't know, I didn't think this through. I don't know what it would be considered. Redox signaling molecules. It's really the energy. It's part of the energy making process. Okay, I got it. ATP is like the cash money. The redox signaling is like digital money. Okay. Where you got to use the card. Okay. So sometimes my examples get a little bit messy and here we are. It's helpful for me, not only as an educator and practitioner, but also as a student to come up with all these ways to understand these complex processes so that I can understand them and I can also teach them. Okay. So ATP is the body's currency and redox is part of that currency. So it's a form of currency, but not the same as ATP. So these redox signals play a critical role in deciding whether the body triggers inflammation or starts tissue repair or fights off an invader or simply tells the cells to like chill out and go back to baseline. So when we talk about redox, what we're really talking about is the intersection of energy, communication, and healing. So if your redox system is balanced, your cells respond. So in a redox system that's balanced, when I bring in drainage opening, the body's like, cool, let's do some drainage. Yeah, awesome. When we bring in, parasite antimicrobials, the body's like, yep, I got the tools. Let's get going. But if you're out of balance, the communication breaks down, your immune system goes rogue, your energy tanks, and you start to feel like your body is glitching. That's called a Herx reaction. Super not fun. And here's the thing. Most people never get told about this. In fact, I didn't. I studied this for many, many years under multiple practitioners and courses, and nobody was talking about this. So we are often just told, like, make sure drainage is opened. Otherwise, detox is going to suck. And I can't tell you how many individuals I've helped through drainage work, and then they get to detox work and they totally are not okay. Okay. So when your cellular communication is broken, these strategies don't work. And when I say broken, I say it lightly. It's not like broken forever. It's not like your great grandma's vase that the kids broke when they were playing soccer in the house. This is like, okay, well, yeah, let's just fix it up. It's actually not that complicated. So if you've ever felt like your body is attacking you when you're trying to do detoxification, and you've assessed for mast cells, you've assessed for drainage pathway opening, and you feel like, there's something else going on, it's probably redox. Redox signaling is how your body knows what to do next. And when it's working properly, it's like flipping the lights back on in a room, right? It's just like, okay, here we are. Easy peasy. Element is an electrolyte drink mix that contains sodium, potassium, and magnesium with no sugar. It's popular among those who fast or follow a low-carb diet where electrolyte support is often essential. But I want to be honest, I personally no longer use Element's powdered flavors. I noticed some pretty substantial bloating, which may be due to the added maltodextrin in most of their blends, except for the unflavored and the fizzy options. And I also found that the high sodium level could also exacerbate some of these issues and just wasn't sitting well with my body over time, and many of my clients who adopted more of a moderate or higher carb approach to their diet. So that said, many people do really well on Element, especially if they're losing electrolytes through sweat, fasting, or a low carb diet. So right now you can try Element with a free 8-count sample pack. So you'll get 2 sticks of each of their top flavors: citrus, raspberry, watermelon, and orange with any purchase. Just go to drinklmnt.com/KDP to claim your free sample pack. So now that you understand what the redox is, and redox signaling specifically, basically these tiny molecules and reactions that help your cells communicate and create energy, let's talk about why it matters to you. So when your redox system is off, everything becomes harder. Like your energy suffers, your immune system like either overreacts or underperforms, and you don't recover well from your workouts, injuries, stress. Healing will slow down. So let's take energy, for example. So we all want more energy. I know my husband doesn't want me to have more energy. He's always saying, like, you have way too much energy, like chill. But real energy doesn't come from caffeine or calories. I mean, calories, yes, caffeine, definitely, but like real energy, the ATP energy, the cash money, right? It comes from healthy mitochondria that are working effectively. And so your mitochondria rely on balanced redox signaling. Yeah, okay, so here we go. The ATP is the cash money. The redox is how we really access that cash money. So yeah, the ATMs, the bank cards, does that make sense? Okay, fully completed that thought. So if these signals are distorted, if the redox signaling is distorted, if there's just too much oxidative stress, okay, oxidative stress, and actually this will be fun. Let's go through, I just thought of this. This is so fun. Let's go through oxidative stress on blood work because, in fact, this is so fun. There is an acute and chronic oxidation pattern in blood work. So I will remember to cover this in this episode. It's going to be great. So when these signals are distorted, if there's too much oxidative stress or not enough antioxidant capacity, your mitochondria start to like not do great. They'll still try to make ATP, but they'll usually create more waste, more inflammation, and then yet less usable energy. So you're going to feel brain fog, afternoon crashes, heavy limbs during workouts, running on fumes, feeling even like not great, even after a good night's sleep. I've had this. It sucks so bad. And in our previous episode, actually, we were talking about this very thing when was it? Episode 528 on June 3rd. I released an episode all about bioactive peptides. These are communication signals that bypass the redox pathway. And this is why bioactive peptides are so powerful, because these communications can still exist in an imbalanced system while triggering things to change without getting super deep in the weeds. So yeah, I'm all about cells and communication right now. So when we look at your immune system, redox molecules play a central role in helping your immune cells decide when to activate, when to come down, what to attack. So without clear redox signaling, your immune system gets confused. And this can show up as getting sick all the time, never getting sick, but always feeling like inflamed, reacting to food, smells, chemicals, or dealing with autoimmunity or sluggish wound healing. So it's not just about how strong your immune system is in this case, it's about how smart and accurate it is. So redox will really play like traffic cop, right? So let's talk even too about the role of redox in recovery. So whether it's recovering from a workout or an illness or a period of burnout or even just a long day, you need efficient redox signaling to repair tissues, manage inflammation, and return to homeostasis. But when redox is impaired, it's like trying to build with broken tools. You're like, this hammer doesn't even have a head on it. How am I supposed to use it with a nail? So this is going to feel like soreness that lingers like way longer than it should, skin that takes forever to heal, feeling puffy or inflamed the next day after exercise, or needing way more rest than usual to bounce back. So when you're doing all the right things, especially like this episode is geared toward an individual that's trying to detox a specific thing and you're just not even doing a great job at it. And you're like, what is even happening? You're eating clean, you're moving your body, you're taking your supplements, you're detoxing, like you're trying to detox, but everything's against you. Yeah, the cellular communication is jammed. And your progress will always feel like an uphill climb. So redox signaling isn't just about some like background science. It's really the foundation of how your body runs the show. Like your cells run the show. And that's why, full circle, thinking about blood work is literally a picture of your cellular health. And that's why we can see oxidation, which will affect redox and our body's ability to manage ATP and build this ATP in the mitochondria. We can see it in blood work. So here's the oxidation pattern that I look for, okay? A chronic oxidation pattern will be a low albumin, low lymphocytes, low platelets, low CO2, low bilirubin, low albumin. Homocysteine will also be low, uric acid will be low, and then we're going to see high RDW, globulin, GGT, AST, ALT, cholesterol, like total cholesterol, HDL, and LDL, or a combination of those, okay? When uric acid is high, that's the acute form. So uric acid will go high initially in an acute oxidation pattern. And as we are stuck in that oxidation pattern, it will get lower and lower and lower as the albumin, lymphocytes, everything that I just listed also go lower. Okay. So I've seen this pattern in blood work so much. If you want to know the highs and lows and function and all that stuff, I made an entire course for this. It's less than $100. I just want the information for you, like to just give you all the goods. So if you go to healthfulpursuit.com/bloodwork, you can check it out for yourself and join in. And I'd love to see you in there. I provide all the functional ranges and everything you need to understand your blood work, as well as the patterns and the specific markers and what they mean. And honestly, you could go through all of my podcast episodes and listen for all the patterns and go even deeper if you wanted to, just like I did today in the oxidation. So we talked a little bit about, the feeling puffy or inflamed or never getting sick, but always feeling inflamed and brain fog and heavy limbs during workouts and all that stuff. These are signs of a redox imbalance. It basically feels like a slow creeping dysfunction. You don't feel sick. You just don't feel well. You kind of feel off. Okay, so this is like low energy that isn't solved by sleep or food, slow recovery from workouts, illness, stress, chronic inflammation, This might look like joint pain, puffiness, bloating, migraines, skin issues, just like it's not just feeling. A lot of the times people will say, well, I'm inflamed because my joints hurt, but there's far more things than just joint pain when it comes to inflammation. Brain fog can also be a sign of redox issues. This can affect your mitochondria. Like redox will affect your mitochondria, which will then, like, mitochondria are so significant in brain cells. And when that signaling is off, clarity, focus, emotional regulation, even that will go out the window. Redox and hormone resistance. So when you're doing HRT and taking all the right supplements, but nothing is moving the needle, it's probably a redox issue because it's inside the cell. And when the cell is inflamed or oxidized, the receptors don't work properly. And it's funny, I love the serendipitous flow. I did not plan this, but I'm thinking back to episode 528 that I wrote like weeks ago. And now I'm just kind of blurting out my ideas on redox with a microphone in front of me. And I'm like, wait, yeah, absolutely. Bioactive peptides kind of go ahead of all of this. And now I'm starting to think, okay, we could also use bioactive peptides in redox signaling issues. And I'm going to talk about what I use for redox signaling issues. But now I'm like, dang, we could use bioactive peptides because these are also signaling agents that are going to fix the communication. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, head on back over to episode 528 from June 3rd on bioactive peptides and learn with me all about cells. Super fun stuff. So redox imbalance doesn't just mean that you're broken. It just means that your cellular communication is glitchy. And how we fix that communication has to do with minerals. And that's why in the bioactive peptides episode, we talked about the benefits of proper electrolyte utilization, because the electrolytes are required for the bioactive peptides, or really any cell signaler, to lock onto the cell, to clue in, and to send that message through the cell. So when we have a redox issue, that's why minerals are so essential to redox. That's why all redox protocols have hydrogen and magnesium and potassium and sodium, so that we can start to regulate how these cells operate. So we can totally restore it. No freaking out, okay? Bioactive peptides. These are short amino acid chains that signal your cells to take action. They're not just nutritional building blocks, they're functional messengers. Make Wellness is pioneering a new class of oral plant-based bioactive peptides that influence everything from muscle growth and fat metabolism to brain health and inflammation. Unlike collagen peptides, which only provide the raw material, think like bricks that show up in your body, bioactive precision peptides are encrypted in a protein matrix and designed to survive digestion, cross into the bloodstream, and communicate with your cells. The result? Faster muscle repair, better metabolic control, and stronger resilience. Make Wellness is leading the charge on bringing these bioactive peptides to market. I've been using them in my one-on-one consulting practice since September 2024 and have learned to stack the different products depending on the client's goals. You can check out the products by going to healthfulpursuit.com/make. Now, if you want a little bit of a tidbit on what to choose, the fit and lean combination is ideal for women working on body recomposition, building strength while losing fat, whereas the calm and hydrated combination is perfect for burnout recovery, adrenal support, and better sleep. Energized and focused is my go-to for busy professionals, creatives, or anyone navigating absolute cognitive overload. And these protocols are built on science, not hype. They deliver results by working with your biology. What Andrea writes, I've tried everything, protein powders, fasting, hormone balancing, but the fit and lean combination actually shifted my body and I feel stronger and I'm finally losing fat without being exhausted. Now, Michelle, age 50, says, calm and hydrated got me sleeping again after 2 years of restless nights. I'm a better mom, partner, and practitioner now. Now, we don't need another quick fix. You need actual tools that works with your body and actually shifts things. I'm going to include the link in the show notes today, but you can go to healthfulpursuit.com/make. If you're unsure of the link, just check out today's show notes for the details. let's talk a little bit about the oxidative stress piece. So in the last little bit, they were talking about the oxidative stress. So oxidative stress happens when your body has more free radicals than it can neutralize. I see this. So I look at a lot of pilots' blood work now, and a lot of them have this. Free radicals are just natural byproducts of metabolism, stress, toxins, inflammation, and it'll start to develop more. Like the more inflammation you have, the more inflammation you have, and then the more oxidative stress you have. And you need some oxidative stress. That's part of healing and immune function. But when they build up and your antioxidant defense system like can't keep up to it, that's when they start to damage the cells and especially the mitochondria. So let's just say you're trying to build a house, but the work site is like full of smoke and static. So the tools don't work and no one can hear the instructions. So that's like, even though the materials are there, the workers can't see what they're doing. They're static, so they can't use their tools. And because there's all this static and noise, they can't hear the instructions of the workers. It's just like pointless, right? This is what's happening inside the body as we're dealing with this. There could be all of the good food and the workouts and the supplements, the materials, but the body can't use them effectively because it's stuck. It's totally stuck. So what does this mean in real life? Let's apply it to the body and not a house. Your hormones might not bind to receptors as they should. Your mitochondria can't effectively create ATP. You're doing all the right things and you're getting like half the results. So your body, when you're in this state, will optimize, or I should say prioritize like survival. And it's really just about restoring the body's communication process. And surprisingly, when I do this with clients, it doesn't take that long. Like we're talking 30 days. And up until this very moment, as I'm talking through, kind of working through my brain and signaling and what's happening with Redox, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, we could totally use bioactive peptides for this. So I'm going to talk about other uses, and then I'm going to finalize why we could use it with the bioactive peptides. So how do we support Redox? If what I'm sharing with you, especially if you're going through detoxification or you're thinking about doing a detox protocol and you're working with a practitioner on it, I would highly suggest asking them if you could do a Redox protocol first for 30 days just before you get started, and then keep some key components like sleep. So Redox repair happens most efficiently while you sleep, especially when you're in the deep non-REM stages. Your body can clear out oxidative waste, recharge your mitochondria, calm inflammation. So if your sleep is shallow or inconsistent, your Redox system will be working kind of with one hand tied behind its back. This happened to me recently. I don't entirely know what happened, but there was a period of a week where I was going to bed really late. I was waking up really late. My body was so heavy and fatigued and all of it. I just couldn't get ahead. And it was amazing. Like as I was sleeping enough, but the timing was all off. And I was like, what is going on? Even this small shift. So what can you do with sleep? Make it a goal to be going to bed before X, whether that's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, like block blue light at night. And if needed, wind down with some sort of routine, whether it's having a hot shower before bed or taking magnesium or drinking a tea, just something to kind of get you into rest mode. And we also want to replenish key minerals, absolutely essential when we're talking about Redox. And this is another reason why I love blood work, because blood work, there are many indirect patterns that will tell you whether or not you need your key minerals. Magnesium, there's your regular magnesium or your magnesium RBC test. Zinc, you can use alkaline phosphatase for that. You can also use hemoglobin. Selenium, you can use your basic thyroid panel to look for selenium needs, and then manganese, which everybody needs. So just add it. These are essential cofactors in antioxidant production and mitochondrial function. So what a lot of people will do is they'll see, oh, okay, I have inflammation and it's probably from oxidation. So I'm just going to add antioxidants. So we have your A, D, E, K, and zinc and selenium. These are your antioxidants. So people will usually add all of these. But when you're not properly redoxing, adding in vitamin A and large amounts, even vitamin D, can actually cause a liver cascade issue and detoxification issue. And usually the reason why we're not absorbing vitamin D, for example, is because we're lacking in magnesium. So it's actually better to start with the minerals first. So you can replenish with like magnesium glycinate at night, even malate would work, or trace mineral drops in your water. In fact, I was chatting with a customer with the bioactive peptides, because all customers who purchase with me, they get my personal number. We text every week to just make sure they're on the right track. If you've already purchased and you haven't gotten a text from me, you can just message me on Instagram or Facebook and I'll text you. I text everyone, but sometimes I don't hear back. And I wonder if like their phones don't accept messages from like a non-supported phone number or like not saved in your phone. But any case, I was chatting with a client or a customer, I should say, and she was talking about how she was using the peptides and she was having a specific symptom. Like she was just always thirsty and she had switched from Element over to Hydrated, the electrolyte powder I'm now using, and find it to be far more acceptable for individuals, especially with bloating and balance and all that stuff. And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Tell me more. What are you experiencing? And she explained it. I'm like, are you drinking reverse osmosis water? She's like, yeah, how'd you know? I'm like, yeah, your thirst is because you're not getting enough minerals. It has nothing to do with the electrolyte. Like add mineral drops to your water and report back. And sure enough, aces. So zinc-rich foods can also help, like oysters, pumpkin seeds, beef, and unrefined salt is really good. I personally choose Colima salt. Also, when it comes to redox, and these are basic things, like super basic, hydrating intentionally. Again, remineralizing your water, electrolytes, absolutely essential. One thing that I struggle with so much is sipping water throughout the day as opposed to chugging it all at once. I'm a chugger. I chug it all at once. It really affects the quality and delivery of your hydration. So I try my best. I sometimes fail. Most of the time I fail. But the electrolyte that I'm using now is called Hydrated. And I like it because it has a mineral complex as well as glycine. So you can find out more by going to healthfulpursuit.com/make. And the Hydrated is on that page. Sunlight and sleep, the two S's, big fans. So light is a biological nutrient. Morning sunlight supports your circadian rhythm and helps regulate mitochondrial timing, boosts melatonin production. And melatonin is a powerful antioxidant. And then we have the red or near infrared light, like the sunrise or sunset, and that stimulates mitochondrial healing and redox repair. So you're like going in there and fixing all the ATMs all at the same time. You go in the sunset and you're like, ATMs upgraded. So if you can spend 5 to 15 minutes outside in the morning without sunglasses and expose your skin to natural light, even if it's just your hands or your face, or you want to be psycho like me and go out even when you're in Canada in your bathing suit when it's freezing and just soak it all up without getting a fever. Hypothermia, my mom always says, get back in here, you're going to get hypothermia. And then we talk about the last piece of it is redox support supplements. So what have we covered so far when it comes to redox? Sleep, minerals. Minerals are easy. Like just add some mineral drops to your water. Hydrate intentionally. Make sure that you're on the correct electrolyte for you. I think that everyone should be on an electrolyte. I personally choose Hydrated. Again, it's healthfulpursuit.com/make. Getting sunlight on your skin, easy stuff. Like good stuff, good basic stuff. Okay. And then you can think about targeted redox support supplements. Only then. So molecular hydrogen is super fun. It neutralizes free radicals and restores redox balance. If you're really struggling, who's the guy? Mercola. He makes a molecular hydrogen. You just got to make sure you follow the instructions really well. Sulforaphane also works. This is from broccoli sprouts. It activates your body's NRF2 antioxidant pathway. You can use CoQ10, glutathione, or mitochondrial blends. Now, kind of like talking through, I've seen great results with FIT, which is a mitochondrial supplement that uses bioactive peptides, 2 different bioactive peptides. So I would add this to the list actually. And it's also on that page, healthfulpursuit.com/make. So when it comes to the glutathione, This is your master antioxidant. I'm actually playing around with glutathione patches, so I'll report back. I don't know if I felt any different on it. I think I need to give it more time. Mitochondrial blends are great, but I don't think like PQQ and alpha lipoic acid, resveratrol, I don't use them a lot in my practice. Even glutathione, I don't use a lot for redox protocols. If I need to, I'll do molecular hydrogen, and I really just focus on minerals. Like, it's super basic, but the key things is sleep and sunlight, the 2 S's for redox. And that's as simple as it is. So if you're doing a detox protocol and you're getting nowhere and you're herxing and just nothing is working, and you've assessed for mast cell activation and you don't have that, and you're just like, where do I go from here? Redox, sleep, minerals, sunshine. Like, this isn't about chasing perfection or that next thing. It doesn't need to be so over the top. And I've been seeing a lot of stuff lately about mitochondria and all the things that it needs and all the oils and all the membranes. And it's just like, we need to be practical here. There's so much that happens when you go outside for 5 minutes before you start your day and at the end of your day. Like, beyond mitochondrial repair, though it does help with circadian rhythm and all that stuff, it goes beyond this. This is like time to just detach from the day that you had, ground yourself at home, get ready for the evening or get ready for the day. Sleep, really needed on all fronts. Hydration, really good. And understand that when you're doing these things, you're also helping your body with the redox system that we talked about. Yeah. So I hope that that's helpful. I hope it doesn't add to your to-do list. These are really basic things that I think everyone should be doing from multiple different angles. And my goal is to always teach you how to bring in these basic items and support systems that go across many, many goals that aren't overwhelming. So I hope I hit the goal today, and I'll include some of the resources that we talked about in the show notes. Okay, see you back here for another episode. Chat with you then. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Healthful Pursuit Podcast. Join us next Tuesday for another episode of the show. If you're looking for free resources, there are a couple of places you can go. The first, to my blog, healthfulpursuit.com, where you're going to find loads of recipes. The second is a free parasite protocol that I've put together for you that outlines symptoms, testing, and resources to determine whether or not you have a parasite, plus a full protocol to follow to eradicate them from your life if you need to. That's available at healthfulpursuit.com/parasites. And last but certainly not least, a full list of blood work markers to ask your doctor for so that you can get a full picture of your health. You can grab that free resource by going to healthfulpursuit.com/labs. The Healthful Pursuit Podcast, including show notes and links, provides information in respect to healthy living, recipes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Healthful Pursuit Podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without any representation or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified health practitioner with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.